I am absolute trash. I ain't worth two dead flies smashed. Last week, I finally hit a wall and I have made a decision to pause prep to redesign my life. I cannot keep going the way that I have been. This is going to be a chatty video. It's probably going to be long. I have some notes here, but also I am processing a lot of this stuff in real time, and I love y'all and I want you to hear me clear, okay? I'm not asking for a solution. I don't want to share. Again, this isn't about me. I'm just sharing because I am being obedient to the Lord. All right. I hit a wall last week because everything, I believe, just finally caught up with me. And I just got to this point where I had to ask myself, I am going as hard as I can and things still are not working. It's time to make some changes. I want to say this. If you are someone who battles with the spirit of laziness or procrastination, sweetheart, this ain't for you. You can listen, but those are not things that I deal with. I, unfortunately, am on the opposite side of the totem pole. Being on this side and being on that side, neither are the answer. I am someone who is a grinder, who is a hustler. I am tough. I can endure and take on a lot. However, I am just a girl. I am a human. And it gets to the point where when you've been going and grinding for so long, eventually you will give out. It'll be full stop. And that is honestly where I arrived. And I found myself getting frustrated, right? Because the go-getter in me, the work hard in me, the grinding me, and then especially when it comes to prep, because, you know, most people, they mean well. They're going to tell you, okay, well, just dig deeper, just grind harder, keep going. What do you think I've been doing? That is exactly what I've been doing this whole time. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and getting the same result. When I really sat back and thought about it after I had my freaking anxiety attack before going to the gym, I still went because when you're dealing with anxiety, getting sunlight, move your body, exercise, please do all of those things, pray, journal, talk to someone. But I had to go back, and I have been in prep since December of 2024. No wonder I'm struggling. No wonder I'm feeling like a crazy person. And that start from prep in December 2024 was actually coming off of my break from when I started prepping in May of 2024. So 2024 was a big year for me, just mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Physically, because again, coming off of 2023, I was burnt out. And that's the thing. I have been under chronic stress since November of 2022. It is now, I'm filming this on Sunday, August 2025. I'm sorry, Sunday, August 24th, 2025. I have been under stress for almost 3 years. And the thing about it is, that is what burnout is. It's just that constant stress. And yeah, I'm strong. Yeah, I kept going. Yeah, I pushed through. I thought I rested, but what I did wrong was I would rest, but then every time I felt better, I would, okay, let me get back to the grind. No. Just because I felt good for a day or two or for a week, when you have been under that much stress for so long, you are going to crash and burn. And that's essentially where I am. So 2024, I was already that's when I realized, okay, we're not okay. And then that's when God came and pursued me and scooped me up. And I was resting. But of course, once I started feeling better, let me get going. So I started prepping in May and dealing with a lot of things. I don't tell y'all everything. I know it might seem like I tell y'all everything. I share a lot, but I also believe that you still need to have a level of anonymity to yourself. Y'all probably know about 80% of my life. You don't know everything. And so, yes, I've had marital stress. Yes, I've had financial stress. I've had career stress. I've had business stress. Y'all know about those things, but there are other things that are going on personally too, like dealing with someone close in your family who is wrestling with addiction, and like there's just so many other things. Me realizing that what I thought my life would be, it's not that, and dealing also with wrapping my head around the fact that the things that I used to like, the things that I used to do, my old desires, I just simply don't have them anymore. And that is quite daunting and perplexing. So I have not been okay for quite some time. And I think the thing is, it's tough because I am considered the strong friend. You know, they always say, check on your strong friends. And out of transparency and honesty, I always let y'all know when I'm not okay. And the reason why is because I didn't realize how many of you truly cared about me. I'm going to keep it a buck. I didn't realize this until last fall when I had to close my salon studio for the second time. Again, more mental stress. And I just thought I could drop off the face of the earth and no one would notice. No, everybody noticed. Everybody noticed. I had a bunch of messages. And so that's when I got on my social media and said, hey, y'all, thank you. I love you. I'm not okay right now, but I will be. And so I believe in communication, especially with this beautiful community that I've built. But I also think what goes on too is because I can endure, because I am tough, because I am honest, because I know how to suffer well, I can get up here and say, I'm not okay with a smile on my face. I can see how someone on the other side watching me, it might not add up because you're seeing me smile and what I'm saying, what's coming out of my mouth, they're not correlating. I just know how to suffer well. I've been suffering for quite some time. And I think because of that, it can kind of just confuse people a little bit, but at the end of the day, I'm not okay. I ain't been okay, and I have to make myself okay. I have a stage glam webinar that I have to do in an hour, and I'm going to do I can't wait for this thing to be over because I don't have it in me to do it. But guess what? This is one of those situations where you got to dig deep and you got to push through. However, after this, I am done. I already have my Instagram post ready that's going to say I'm taking a break. And this is for anybody. I don't care what the world is saying, what your friends, your family, if you feel in your heart that you are not okay and you need to take a step back, I want to encourage you to do so. And guess what? You don't owe nobody an explanation either. You have to do what you gotta do for you, especially when you can feel it, especially when you can feel that stirring in you. That's God. That's the Holy Spirit trying to tell you, hey, sounding the alarm, alert you. And then also from something else is so interesting because a verse that I am studying right now for school is Matthew chapter 14, 22 through 23. This is when Jesus tells the disciples to go ahead and get into the boat. Jesus is dismissing the crowd, and then Jesus goes off by himself to pray, and he goes off to be alone. Anytime the Bible says something twice, especially when it's back to back, pay attention. That is putting emphasis on that particular scripture. What I got from that was the emphasis was on being alone and praying. And the reflection question after that was, what was God telling you during that passage? God don't miss. I'm getting chills. He knew I needed to read that in that moment. I mean, I had to do it anyway because it was for homework, but it was confirmation. You need to take a step back. You need to take a step back and get your mental health in order. When I look at it now, because you live life forward, but you understand it backwards, I should have taken a break in 2024 to get myself together. I should have not. When I look at it, I should have taken 2024 off to get myself mentally together, but sometimes when you're just used to operating in survival mode, that's all I know. All I know is go, hustle, push through. So therefore that was my norm. And I've forgiven myself for that. I'm exercising grace towards myself because sometimes you don't know until you go through it. But I should have taken 2024 off, and I should have taken 2024 off. I should have taken 2024 off from competing. And for 2025, I should have never started traveling for stage glam until I was done competing, because what has happened to me now is the anxiety that I have around traveling. I do not want to travel anymore because it makes me so anxious. This whole prep, in my mind now, I know when I travel, I'm going to be thrown off. My body's going to be thrown off. My rest is going to be thrown off. My recovery. This has happened to me every single time this year I've traveled. So I understand and realize the last time when I traveled, my last travel was when I went to Texas. And when I got back home, I was just so discombobulated in the anxiety that I had leading up to going. That was a red flag, and I need to take heed and pay attention to those things. Editing Amber here. There's something very important I forgot to mention here as well. Y'all know I'm not afraid to talk about nothing. I'm always keep it a buck. Something else that really drove me crazy, that got on my last nerves, is the constant and perpetual worry about what does my physique look like? How is this going to affect my physique? Well, if I travel, I'm going to get messed up. What do I look like today? It drove me nuts. I got so sick of the constant worry about what my physique looked like, y'all. It just left such a disgusting and gross taste in my mouth. And then just like the anxiety around it, because here's the thing, I am not someone that is obsessed with how I look. And I know that might sound insane considering I'm a beauty professional, considering I'm a professional bodybuilder, but how I look is how I look. That's something that I have always just come to terms with, especially as a child. Like, my skin is my skin, my face and bone structure is my bone structure, my hair is my hair. Now, the thing I did struggle with was the fact that I was jacked, more jacked than everyone else around me. But as far as like constantly looking at myself and worried about my body, outside of me getting on stage, I don't do that. And so I felt this constant stress and pressure and worry about, okay, well, if I do this, that means like, it honestly, it drove me nuts. And I feel that that is something that is hardly ever touched on, and it is very much so real. Like, I got so many more important things to worry about, and having that stress of how this is going to affect my physique, am I going to be up in weight, like, just no, it got to be too much for me, and I needed a break from that. And that's the other thing too. Like, I hate it. Like, obviously, like, I understand, like, in the name of us getting on stage in bodybuilding, I get it. Yes. However, I know for me, because I had so much other stuff going on, and it all became too much at one time. And then obviously the closer you get to show, right, you have to do more check-ins. I hate checking in twice a week. Absolutely hate it. I would be dragging my behind upstairs to go set up and take these photos in my office, and I would be pissed. I'm talking royally pissed about it. And that should have been a sign right there too. But I just, keep pushing. So, what are we going to do? I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to share it with you. I am still very much so committed to the content here on YouTube because I love YouTube. I love creating. Creating is therapeutic for me. It is fun. YouTube does not stress me out whatsoever. I am wise enough to understand that with my goal of getting to the Olympia 2026, I can't get there in this state. Outside of that goal, I'm no good to no one like this. I'm not a good wife. I'm not a good friend. I'm not a good daughter. I'm not a good makeup artist, hairstylist. I'm not good at anything at this capacity. So therefore, I have to make adjustments. And especially with me starting this second term for school. I was worried about it. School has been the one thing that has not burdened me. I have so many things going on, which was why I always felt stressed out and anxious. And a lot of those things, they're just getting pushed off to the side because I can't do it. But school has been such a great help for me. And it has given me clarity on what it is that God wants me to do. And my goal is to counsel athletes, specifically bodybuilders, amateurs, and pros, because I know how tough it can be. I did not know that I would arrive here. I did not see any of this coming. Like I stated, I just wanted to be a makeup artist. That was it. However, the Lord saw something else and put me on a different path. So now that I realize what that path is, and I still have my own goals, I realize I can't do any of that stuff well if I don't get this straight. Yes, is my physique right now am I still in shape? Yeah, I'm still very much so in shape. Could I push through and compete in September like I planned to? Yes, but I wouldn't have gotten the best result. That's why my body has been at a plateau, because your body's going to follow what your mind is doing. So yes, I'm doing the work. I'm getting slow results and slow progress, but because up here is not okay and has not been okay for quite some time, y'all, when I tell you the exhaustion that I feel, and that's the tough part about it, because physically, this is the best my body has ever felt. This is the first time where in the gym, I can push weight. I don't have my injuries, my scoliosis. I had 2 curves in my spine. Tell me why my spine is almost straight. My little old lady hip that I used to talk about, I don't have that pain anymore. My body is good. Body's healthy. But in here, no, I'm exhausted. I am mentally exhausted. And when I had that anxiety attack before going to the gym, I knew, okay, nope, we can't do this. We can't operate like this. I knew that if I were to keep pushing on and just dig a little bit deeper, something bad would have happened to me. That's why I made the decision to pause, redesign my life, get myself together, and then resume. So the steps that we're going to be taking, the first thing that we need to do is do an audit, a life audit. Look at your life. And around this time of year, I always do a life audit anyway, typically a month or so before my birthday. Typically 2 months or so before my birthday, I start looking at the year, looking at what's working, what's not working, and do a life audit. And when you do a life audit, here's what you need to do. You got to be for real. Like I say all the time, if you can't be real with yourself, you definitely ain't being real with nobody else, and you can't be real with God. God can handle anything that you say, no matter how bad, dark, ugly, disgusting it is. He can handle it. And guess what? He knows already. Do a life audit. Look at all the areas of your life. Look at your relationships, look at your career, look at your mental health, look at your health, look at every area, look at your finances, look at all of those things. And then the 3 that are looking a little raggedy and janky, that is what you have to focus on. So once you have your 3, then we can start making some goals and some plans and putting some things in action. So my 3 are: the number one thing that I have to get in control is my mental health. I have to regulate my nervous system, because if this ain't right, nothing is going to go. The first thing that I'm going to do to help me regulate my nervous system, and this isn't going to be the woo-woo meditation and what are some of those other crazy things, or taking this supplement, like no. These are real life tangible things that I'm going to be doing. The first thing, slow down and rest. I am absolute trash. I ain't worth two dead flies smashed when I am not well rested. This is something that I am very well aware of. This is something that my husband is very well aware of, because when I start spiraling, and God bless my husband because he gets the crash outs. He gets them. And he'll look at me and he'll listen to me. He'll say, "You need to go to sleep." And every single time I go to sleep, I wake up, I feel like a new creation. I have not gotten good, sound, consistent, well rest, and I don't know how long. I don't know how long. I hate that feeling of always feeling in a rush to get somewhere, a slave to a to-do list. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. That is not good for your nervous system. Slow down. So I am being intentional about everything. I have started eating my meals outside on my front porch. I like being outside. I like nature. I like being with God's creations. No watching TV or looking at my phone while I'm eating, just being present and eating my food. It sounds so simple and so minute, but when I tell you it has already made such a huge difference, I have already been doing these things now for 4 days. 4 days, and I am already seeing positive results from them. Slow it down. Remember how speaking about how I read The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry at the end of 2024? I think I might need to go read it again. In fact, I'm going to get the audio version so I can listen to it. Read that book. That broke my brain, and clearly it was head knowledge, but it wasn't heart knowledge, because here we are 8 months later. However, grace towards yourself. Quiet time. Get somewhere and sit down. I am not well when I don't get my quiet time. And this is something that I've had to discuss with my family, and I have accepted that I am this way. I have no shame. I am a extroverted introvert. When I feel like talking and being chatty, I will. When I don't, I won't. There's no in between with me. So I don't know if that's healthy or not. That's something I should probably explore. But if I feel like talking, yeah, girl, we can do it. But when I don't want to talk. It's just that simple. It's that dang phone. This bad boy right here. Phone closes from 8 p.m. to 9 a.m. I don't talk to nobody. I'm not talking to nobody. They're like obviously my close friends and my loved ones, like the people that are on my favorites. They can get a hold of me and they can get through to me, but shutting it down. Shutting it down. We have too much stimulation. Why do we always need to be in contact all the time? It's too much. It is too much. In bed at 9:30, read, write, pray, Bible, whatever, just relax. Relaxing my mind. Slow mornings. Slow. Pray, eat, coffee, Bible. You see how I'm setting up my day? You set your day up the night before. So going ahead and laying out my clothes, packing my lunch for work the next day, so that way in the morning I'm not hustling and bustling around trying to do so many things. How you end your day and set your day up dictates the next day. Eat dinner no later than 7:30, and the reason why I'm doing this is just simply because my digestion and gut health have been trash. Obviously, in prep, when you start getting down to the wire, you're not getting a bunch of those micronutrients. It's a wreck. But prep is not why my gut health is in the gutter. My gut health is in the gutter because my mental health is in the gutter. So therefore, your gut is your second brain. So anytime I'm not rested or I'm stressed out, my gut takes a hit as well. So making sure that I'm eating no longer than 7:30, so that way I can go for a walk just to help with digestion, because every morning I wake up, my stomach hurts. That is not normal. We are not supposed to be that way, and it's due to stress. No more prep meals. And here is what I mean. I need micronutrients. Yes, I'm still going to get my protein. I'm still hitting my carbs and my fats, but I need micronutrients. I need fruit. I need vegetables. I need a variety because that is also going to help my gut. That's the tough thing again about prep, which is why you got to make sure everything in here in your ecosystem is good, because some stuff is just inevitable. That's going to happen in prep. However, if you already have a bunch of other elements and things going on, it's going to make it worse and even more difficult, which is why I haven't been able to get a handle on it. Exercising. So because my nervous system is a wreck, pushing hard is not the name of the game. Here's the positive. Since we have prepped and since I'm still lean, we've been able to basically get a good idea. We know what I have. And I am not someone who needs to do what I call build the house from the ground up. I am not someone who is lacking in muscle, so therefore I don't need a long off season to put on more muscle. No. So I'm okay. I just need to do a little something to maintain the muscle that I have. And this is what I tell all bikini and wellness athletes when you get your feedback, okay? The only thing that I want to hear from my feedback, and I know what my feedback would be anyway, is more glute density. If your feedback is that you need more glutes and you're a bikini or wellness athlete, sweetheart, you're doing good, because we all need more glutes. That is staple feedback. You are a freaking unicorn, and it is a rare occasion if they tell you you don't need any more glute density. So because I know that's honestly the only thing that I need, I know we've streamlined my waistline, we've done a bunch of things. For me, going crazy in the gym right now is not wise because my nervous system is a wreck. Again, prep is already hard on the body, and then clanging and banging, it adds more stress to the body, especially being that I am someone who has a hard time recovering. So I'm going to make it my mission to exercise 4 days a week. And it might be just cardio one day. It might be just weight training. Either way, I'm not going to be going in there with the mindset of, okay, I gotta grind it out. I gotta grow, gotta get on stage. It's in the name of slow and steady, get a good pump, get some blood flow, maintain your muscle, and that's that. My muscle is not gonna go anywhere. My muscle is fine. I've been training consistency like this for 6 years. I've been able to put this muscle on due to my consistency. We're not going to lose muscle because we're not hardcore training for a month or 2 months. It don't work that way. Foam rolling and stretching. I just need to be intentional about this anyway, especially because when you are stressed out, when your nervous system is a wreck, you're probably just tensed up like this all the time. So foam rolling and stretching is going to be so helpful for me. Time management. No more packing my day with a ton of tasks. Cannot do it. It is too stressful, and I am being more intentional and asking God, what are we doing today? What are we working on? What do you want me to focus on? Because that's another thing. For so long, I have been focusing on the wrong things. I have not been focusing on the things that the Lord wants me to focus on. Therefore, that's why I feel like I'm just toiling in the wind. I'm working hard. I'm doing all these things, but yet I feel like I've done nothing. It's because I'm not focusing on the right things. So my goal is one main task for building my next project. I am working on something and I've been working on it all year. It's just been slow because, life. If you are interested in what it is that I am working on and you want to be notified, in the description box, hit the coming soon link, sign up, put your email in, and you'll be the first to be updated. It's me, y'all. I ain't gonna spam you, okay? My homework, school is part of investing in myself. And I know it will help me with my long-term vision that God downloaded in my mind. I know already. Be mindful of who and what you give your time to. Everybody don't need your time, and everything doesn't need your time. No more scrolling. The overstimulation of it all. That's why I got up off of Instagram. Just the time suck of it all. I like Instagram stories because it's a good way to just, chat and be in community. And if I feel like doing that, then I will. If I need to post something for business wise, which I think the way that I just set myself up with this post is going to go up, it might not even be necessary, but just it's too much. YouTube, I love watching YouTube. I'll put YouTube on in the background. It doesn't bother me, but just be mindful of your scrolling, your screen sucking, and what you're consuming, because a lot of the times what you're consuming can also add more stress to you as well. This is a big one, and this is one that I'm still processing. Being who God designed me to be and stop running from that. Understanding, what does that look like? What does she do? How does she act? I realize that I am not being 100% who God designed me to be. I hold myself back. I dim my own light. I put limitations on myself. And this is something that I'm working through. I'm breaking through those barriers right now. But this was a hard thing for me to just accept about myself. However, once you are aware and you accept it, then you can do the work. And I can't do that anymore, because the way that I was able to conceptualize it is, we are made in God's image. I am his unique creation. He made me to be a very specific way, and me not showing up in that way, that's insulting to God. That's insulting to him. It's almost like if you're a creator, you create something and then you give it to someone and they don't use it. Aren't you going to feel a way about it? It's like, yo, like, I made this specifically for you and you're not using it. And also, by me doing that, it blocks me from what is Francisco doing, senor? You cutting grass right now? My neighbor. Okay. But it blocks me from doing what it is that he wants me to do as well. Get plugged in at church. This is something that I have been trying my best with. I did join a millennial group with church, and I went to the first Bible study, and it was amazing. So that is something that I'm going to keep up with, because community is key. Gotta have community. You have to have time alone. You have to have your prayer time. I'm so annoyed. We're going to power through. But you also need community, especially when you start going through things. If you don't have solid community, solid, wise, biblical counseling, it is a necessity. Speaking of counseling, I start counseling in a couple of weeks. I found somebody and I am happy to pay her, because I have reached that point of I need help. I need help, and that is okay. Then other tasks I'm going to be doing, cleaning out my closet, cleaning out like makeup, going through gym clothes, just out with the old and exploring new interests and hobbies. What were my interests and hobbies, they ended up turning into a business. Makeup started as an interest and hobby, and then it turned into my career. Bodybuilding turned out to an interest and hobby, and then it also added on to being part of my career. So exploring other interests, other hobbies, what do I like, what else is out there, I think that will be very beneficial, because everybody needs an interest in a hobby that is separate from their jobs. And also, hold on, I'll get there. Let me not get ahead of myself. So mental health is number one. The second thing here is finances. Finances have been this dark, glooming cloud over my head since I closed my studio in October, and it has just been this, I feel like I'm on a hamster wheel. I have to build my savings back up, because when you have a business, like, I was giving it all and doing all the things, but it just stressful. But the one main thing that really added the extra stress financially is that 2 months of not having income, of not working. So my last day at Sephora was June 15th, and then my first day at my new job at the Blowout Bar was August 16th. That 2 months with no income, Lord have mercy. And I'll say this, I understand there are people out there who have gone way longer without a job than I have. When I tell you, the empathy. My heart is with you. My heart is with you because I had some dark days. Dark days. And I'm just grateful that we got a job now. Because the thing about it is, I might not have a lot, but I would always have a stash. And so when you don't have your stash no more, and you are also exhausted and don't have it in you to get out there and grind and hustle, or the things that you used to do, you know the Lord told you not to do that, it's a wild place to be. It is a wild place to be. And then also financially, we just more stress on my husband because we are now a 2-income home. We didn't used to be a 2-income home. Prior to him transitioning from his appliance business to working full-time at the bakery, he was making enough money to where, like, legit, I didn't have to work if I didn't want to. I didn't realize how good I had it. Sometimes you don't know. I would never be that person to not work anyway, but that was a huge hit that I don't think either one of us were prepared for. Okay, my bad, y'all. It is the next day. I was trying to hurry up and finish recording, but my family kept coming in, and then I had to go do my stage glam webinar, which went really well, by the way. I was just in a funk. Anywho, let's pick up where we left off. I already know this video is super long. However, if you're still here, God bless you and thank you. So we are on number 2 of the top 3 things that I need to work on. So I left off with finances, and I was just speaking about how we weren't really prepared for when my husband just transitioned out of his appliance business to going full-time at the bakery. Next up, the other thing too with finances, adjusting to my new 9 to 5. The reason why I'm putting 9 to 5 in quotes is because it's not a true 9 to 5. Those aren't my hours. So I am working at a blowout bar now, which I just finished up my first week and I like it. I honestly was not sure how I was going to adjust because I am accustomed to full service salon. So I am a hair colorist and not coloring hair, not cutting hair, doing all those things. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. However, I like it a lot. So I do blowouts, styling hair, updo special occasions, and I also do makeup there as well. And I'm not going to lie, the first 2 weeks of training, I had to just die to self, get rid of ego, get rid of pride, because I stated in one of my other videos, the struggle for me was I have always been an independent contractor in salon. So when I worked in my first salon, the first year and a half, I was a receptionist because I was in beauty school. But then after that, I don't know, I spent maybe 2 months as the assistant and then I was immediately renting my chair. So I've always been an independent contractor. I've always been my own boss in full service salon and when I had my studio. So for me mentally, I felt like I was failing. I felt like I was working backwards. I felt like I just felt like I was disappointing myself. But then I thought about it. Right now in my life, this is exactly what I need. I do not need that stress of the overhead because it is a lot to run your own studio. It is a lot to run your own salon. It is so much. You have your booth rent and then you have back bar, and my back bar and color inventory and products were just always significantly higher just due to me having a diverse clientele, which is a blessing. So I can do all races. I can do all hair types. So if you have fine, bone, straight hair, anything in between, all the way to tight, coily hair like myself, which is a beautiful thing. I love all my clients, but that comes with me having to have a lot of different things to make sure that I am able to service my clients appropriately. So being able to go to work, I don't have to bring any of my tools if I don't want to. They already have all the products there for me. I go in, I clock in, I blow out hair. I've been having so much fun focusing. That's the thing. First of all, it's such a good business to have. It's just niche down to that one thing. We're not full service. We just do blowouts. And it's so funny because when I went to my last studio, that was my mindset. I wanted to have that same business structure where it's just blowouts, healthy hair care, and makeup artistry. In a studio, it's hard to sustain that because your profit margins are just like, it's so high. Like the rent high. I was paying what? I want to say $1,300 a month in just booth rent. That doesn't include my insurance. That doesn't include my products. That doesn't include my color. Like it just, there's so many other things. And so easily we could probably say somewhere between $1,500 to $1,600 a month. And then if it's a busy month, it might just be more than that because the more clients I have, color, all the things. Anywho, I'm rambling now, but not having to deal with that has made me love hair again. I thought I didn't like being a hairstylist. I didn't love it. And that wasn't it. It was the stress. I wasn't able to just solely focus on being a hairstylist, doing my client's hair. So now I'm loving it. The owner is so sweet. And I love that she is not in it for the money. She's retired from finance and she's just doing it because she loves it. It's like a passion project for her, and she cares about the stylist, which is also so important. The culture is good. And I just told her, I said, I can tell you've done a really good job at establishing the culture and how you want things to function and flow. As someone who has been in the beauty industry for a while, I've been in different places because she's strictly finance. And something that she said that I loved was, she said, I'm finance. I handle the finances, the business aspect of it, but I don't meddle in the artistry aspect. That is you guys. And when she said that, it just gave me so much peace because she gets it. She understands. So it's nice not having to worry about those things. And also with me being at my 9 to 5, I have structure. The one thing that I hate about retail when I was at Sephora, even when I was doing cosmetics counter managing at Macy's, is retail is not my ministry. I hate it. I do not like it whatsoever. At Sephora, I like Sephora, obviously, because I got to do makeup, but there's still that retail aspect. But your schedule is different every single week. And that's hard for me because I'm such a structured, regimented human being. So I work the same days, the same hours. Of course, if they need me to come in on a day or something, I will. But right now I'm working 3 days a week, and that is perfect because I didn't want to take on too much too soon, especially with this current term of school that I have. I have 3 classes right now. So after this term, which will be over October 11th, then I can take on another day, and then it'll be holiday time. So we'll have holiday parties and all the things. We do a bunch of weddings as well. A lot of bridal parties, but it has been, it's been a blessing in disguise. And this has given me the opportunity to just get some structure and to get some consistency with my finances. And it also allows me to now, since I have my 9 to 5, I can work on my other project as well. So that is just, and then setting up my baby step, and then it also allows me to focus on baby step 1, which is building back up my emergency fund. If you guys are familiar with Dave Ramsey, I read that book a long time ago, and I've done the baby step 1 and then, working on the snowball method. However, life been life in the past 3 years, and we have just gotten so far off of that. So I have taken ownership for my lack thereof financial literacy and just bad mistakes. We can't harp on it. Now I'm to the point of, okay, now you've done some things, what worked in your business, what didn't work in your business, what works for your finances, what doesn't work. So now I can actually focus on the baby step 1 because I will have consistency. The thing about it is when you are an independent contractor, no matter what it is, if you're a hairstylist, if you're a photographer, it's tough because for the first, I never know how much money I'm going to make. It is never consistent. So when you don't have that consistent income, it is hard to budget. It's just harder. So I might have a day where I make $50, and then I might have a day where I make $800. And then the next day I might make 75, and then the next day I might make 400. So it's just always hard for me to just do the whole budgeting thing. However, now that I have the consistency with my finances, it will allow me to do so. And then I don't have that stress of trying to figure out how I can I don't have to have that stress when it comes with Stage Glam either, because Stage Glam, everything that I make for Stage Glam, it goes right back into it. So it helps me to be able to travel, and then it helps me to be able to get my hotel fees and all the things. I don't make money off of that either. So that was really, really stressing me out because I have this freelance job that I do within my business, but it's not fruitful. Yes, it's fruitful from a different standpoint as community, but at the same time, one of my main stressors is finances. So I had to weigh some things out. Hey kid, the finance aspect is stressing you out the most. So therefore you got to make some adjustments and arrangements because you can't live off of this. And with that being said, it also made me realize that beauty is and probably will always be a part of my life to some extent. The difference is beauty is no longer who I am. I've had to really flush out the identity and the idolatry because I made being a hairstylist my identity. That's why I preach that so much. Don't make anything your identity. Idolatry is something that folks been struggling with since before Christ. Read Genesis. It is all up and through there. I mean, in the Old Testament, it's just like the Israelites, and idolatry is such a thing, and it's very rampant today. A lot of people all right, we're going to go there. A lot of women will sit here and they have so much emphasis or so much focus on being married and I'm a mom and where's my husband? A lot of y'all are idolizing those things. Here's the thing. Yes, you might be a wife. Yes, you might be a mom. Those are roles. Me being a beauty professional, that's a role. Me being a wife, that's a role. That's not my identity. My identity is in Christ. And when you realize that, when it becomes not just head knowledge and heart knowledge, you get to live freely. I see it all the time, especially with women that I've serviced where they've made their identities like, I'm a mom. And then when their kid goes off to college, they lose their minds. They realize, oh my gosh, I don't know who I am. Oh, wait a second. I don't even really think I like my husband because I haven't talked to him since I became a mom. Again, I don't have any kids. I'm not a mom, but I experienced that when I stepped away from my studio the first time in 2022. I didn't realize I had made that my identity. So the first month was all well and good. But then as I started going on, I realized, oh my goodness, who am I? I'm lost. I've lost my full-blown identity. No, you made something your identity that should have never been that in the first place. So the blow bar is my 9 to 5 and what I do to have consistent income. And then tracking my spending. I have a planner. I keep a planner. You do whatever it is that you need to do for you. But me, every single day, tracking my spending, tracking how much I'm making at work with my tips because we get tips. And so that way, it's just something about writing it down and seeing what you're spending. It hits different. Do it. No emotional spending, buying things to make me feel better in the moment. This is so real. This is so real. I'm not a materialistic person, but I realized once I started paying attention to my money spending habits and the psychology that goes along with it, most of the time, like if I'm just buying something random, it's probably because I'm trying to find a way to make me feel better. There's something going on in here that I'm just not addressing. So now addressing that, asking myself, is this a need or if it's a want? Because right now you're old enough for your wants not to hurt you. You have a very specific financial goal. So guess what? Those wants do not matter. Only buy what you need. And then even if I did push through prep and compete, I realized I am not in the financial space to afford to compete right now. Could I penny pinch and do it? Yes, but it would just promote more stress. So why put that on me? Gotta be wise about it. Okay, and then last but not least, business goals. Out with the old, in with the new. I'm burning down Amberp Beauty. Burning it down. I have to start over. And I have to do what God said. And please hear me clear. Yes, beauty will always be a part of my life. Yes, I'll still be finishing up this year with Stage Glam. Next year, I'm not going to be doing a bunch of shows just simply because I have to focus on my goal, because the goal is still to qualify for Olympia 2026. Again, like I said earlier, I can't focus on that goal, show up as my best, and just be laser sharp if I don't get all these other things on point first. And so with that being said, when it comes to Amberp Beauty and Stage Glam, it's a passion project is what it is. It is not a business, and I'm okay with that. And I feel better with it, because what has happened with Amberp Beauty is it grew way bigger than me And I wasn't expecting that. And every time I thought about ways to grow and scale it, I would just always feel so much tension around it. And that was the Holy Spirit saying, no, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And it's tough because the world or people from the outside looking in or people in the industry will say, yeah, girl, go, push, do it, build that glam team, do all of this. I don't want that. I don't want that responsibility, because just like I don't want the responsibility of having a studio right now, I don't want the responsibility of micromanaging other artists. I do not. And it is such a, it's different because I have to account for their travel, their flights, their hotel, it's a lot. I don't want to do that. I just don't. Right now, I'm not in the space to where I want to do that. Once I'm done competing next year, and next year is going to be my last year competing. At this moment, that's how I feel. But, once I retire from that, if I feel the stirring in my system to do it, then maybe I will. But I don't know. As of right now, Amberp Beauty, I don't know if it's done or if it's on a pause. Like, realistically, from a business standpoint, I feel like it's done in my heart and I've made peace with it. But that's where I'm at with it. And the thing about it is, we have seasons for a reason. We can't keep looking back. Like Lot's wife, she turned into a pillar of salt. Ecclesiastes speaks about how we have seasons for a reason. Then also, I know for a fact that the Lord is trying to push me in another direction. And sometimes, most of the time, when God is trying to push you into another direction, it means that you got to end something somewhere else. And so, like I stated, I am working on another project and I'm hoping to launch it on my birthday, October 18th. I don't know if I will be able to. Last night I was thinking, and I don't want to push myself and stress myself out too much. So maybe, I don't know, but another goal that I have is just being laser focused on that, because when I tell you the Lord has just been pressing down on me, every day I need to do at least one thing that's going to help me build it. So it might be creating content, planning, writing, reading, etc., whatever the case may be, but more on that later. So that's it. That's where we're at. Again, we are still have that goal of competing and getting to the Olympia next year. It's just a matter of I have to redesign my life in a way that my mental health is on point, because if my mental health is on point, nothing is going to flow. So I hope this is, if anything, it's an alarm for anyone on the other side who's watching this. Maybe if you're struggling, never be afraid to pause something. Never be afraid to put something down, especially if you can feel the stirring in your soul. And if you just know you're not mentally well, you don't owe anybody an explanation. All right. So that's it for the video. You guys stay tuned for this, because it's going to be a series of me redesigning my life in my mid-30s. I'm going to be sharing with you just a lot of these things that I'm implementing. And I think it is important to not just talk, but actually live out. And that's why, even though right now where I'm at, I'm still vlogging, because vlogging doesn't stress me out. Creating content doesn't stress me out. But it's one thing to see somebody or hear somebody say something, but being able to actually see them live it out, I think that speaks more. Rocket, you'll come in a minute. I think that just speaks louder. So thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode, and cast one more net.